Welcome to the Raf and Raf Rant. I'm Raf.
And I'm Raf. We're Raf.
Raf Farisco of the Far From Vesuvius podcast. That's Ralph Pizarro of Calcio Napoli Club. Just rant about Napoli.
Let's go for it.
We're going to rant. We're going to match report. We're going to talk about the games. We're going to talk about topics. You leave comments and we'll read your comments out. Question.
All right. Quick stats.
Yes. Throw the stats up there. On to a nice little segment that we're going to call the Beast of the Match.
Who's beasting it for the Napoli team? Let's see.
Follow us on Facebook, Rafael Rispo, Ralph Pizarro, Twitter at RafaNapoli83. That's me.
CNC USA 26.
I want some feedback to the show. What do you guys want to see? What do you want to see more or less of? This is going to be a show for you guys too. I want a lot of comments.
We want to rant about something. Let us know if you want us to rant about something.
I promise you, we're not going to agree on everything all the time.
We won't.
We're going to yell at each other every now and then.
Come and rant. This is what it's for. We want to give you a space to let loose so you can do it here.
Well, that's going to do it, Ralph. You know, were we boring enough for you?
I don't know. I think we were great.
Let's get to it.
And benvenuti, fellas and bellas. Welcome to the post-game rant with the Raf and Raf rant. I am joined today with the Vicar of Vesuvius, Rafa Rispo, and Carmine from Napoli Club Toronto Winkle. Gentlemen, unfortunately today, Juve defeat Napoli 2-1 in Piemonte, man. And boy, oh boy, lots of mixed emotions today, guys. I mean, never a good day when Napoli loses. Doesn't matter which team. But this game in particular, guys, we got a lot to talk about. Welcome to the chat, guys. Let's get the chat going. Let's get all your comments in there. We'll save your questions till the end. But let's get the show on the road. Rafa, let's start with you, brother. One word. Start with one word.
What can you say? You know, disappointing. I think we didn't play overly bad in the second half. The first half was a little bit of a mess. But disappointing loss. But I think there are some positives to look at it overall. I think we'll get into that in a little while.
Okay. Carmine?
Don't get me wrong. When you play a match as big as this one, especially with the backstory that's behind it, right? Mm-hmm. They postponed the match one time because of ASL blocking travel. Then the match is postponed again because both teams agreed that it didn't fit in their schedules, which, you know, fair enough, right? But when you have something that's building up to this point, and with all of this tension, I guess you can call it, that is being built up, I expect more than what we saw, especially in the first half. Don't get me wrong, the second half, I saw a completely different team come out, and I can't be mad at it. I'm upset that we lost. Of course, we're all upset, but I'm not mad that we lost. Okay. I'm not mad to the point where I said we played terrible all game, because we didn't. We played decently well for the second half of the game. Yeah. Just things. That's it.
Right. It felt like Juve came out the gate, firing on all cylinders. That was without a doubt. Yeah, their press in the beginning of the game. You saw Ronaldo just miss that header. This game could have been right from the jump off really, really different. But we were able to kind of stop that force a little bit, even though they still went up 1-0. But Juve looked hot in the beginning, and Napoli was able to hang on. But I don't know. I think. For me, yes, Napoli came out a little slow, in my opinion. Yeah. But they warmed up. They warmed up to the game. But I'll be honest today. There you go, Rafa. You know, guys, the one question I want to ask everybody here, and I'm gonna, Mr. Stroutfire, I put it up here. Troutfire, Mr. Stroutfire. Gattuso Hisal and Noisinam. One word, not chiavica. Man, I don't know if today not playing Osimhen was a blunder. Guys, I gotta ask you. This goes out to everybody, guys. What do you think, man? Was not starting Osimhen the right choice?
No, I think Napoli took the right approach to the game. I think that you go with experience at this point. You know, Mertens is all-time leading goal scorer. He was on a roll with 2 straight games with 2 free kick goals. He's been playing really well. I think you go with the experience against a team like Juventus, who have been struggling lately. They really needed this win. They really did what they had to do to get it. I mean, personally, I would have went with Manolas in the back with Koulibaly. I think that's the only difference there. I'm not even going to talk about it too much because, both goals were really nothing he could do. But I think initially the approach was okay. I think Gattuso did the right thing in the second half and made the changes. I think we were down 1-0. We were pressing for that equalizing goal. It just didn't come in, and Dybala did what he did. And it's unfortunate. But I think from here on out, maybe it's a good idea to now start thinking about putting Osimhen in the starting 11 and integrating there. And guys, let me just make this point really quick. Season's not over by any means. You still have 9 games.
No. I mean, we're not saying
we're only 3 points behind Juventus, who are in third place now. We're still only 2 points behind the Champions League. And with the goal that Insigne got on the penalty kick, thank goodness for the goal, right? We still were able to gain the advantage on the tiebreak. So if Napoli Juventus end up tied in fourth place at the end of the season, Napoli have the tiebreak on Juventus. So with the loss come a few positives. We get to. I think from here we move on forward. I think Husai played really bad today. I think Fabian had a slow start but picked it up in the second half. And I think that this is a good lesson to learn. It's still Juve. We still got to do. Even if it was a downslide Juve that really needed this result. When Juve need a result, they're gonna get it.
Right. Carmine?
Yeah. So just to go off of what he said there, and back to the original question: was Osimhen on the bench a mistake? It really, when we're looking at it now, when we think of the starting formation, when we have Hizai and Osimhen starting, let's not kid ourselves. Mertens has looked strong, especially in the last game against Roma. I thought it was a good move to play him again today. Right. Maybe not in the 4-2-3-1, which I personally believe isn't Mertens' strength. You're not playing to his strength in that formation. You do need a classical in the sense number 9 when you're playing in that 4-2-3-1. But Mertens makes it work, and I thought it was a good move. And guys, let's not forget, he's in the last couple of games, and especially during international break, he's been playing decent football. He's been playing better football than Mario Rui, in my opinion. And if anyone knows me, I don't like any of them. I don't like any options. But in this sense, like Rafa said, you go with experience, and you go with who has been more informed. And Hizai, within the last run of games, has been the more informed player. Today, it didn't look like it. Today, he was god-awful. It was at times, it was like, I felt bad for Koulibaly because he was playing 2 positions at once. He always had to cover for Hizai and his mistakes. On their first goal, which was a defensive disaster class all around the field, Hizai gets turned inside out by Chiesa. And then both Koulibaly and Ramani, and this is where you start to see inexperience come in, or I guess you can call it a lack of chemistry coming in, where they both just leave Ronaldo. They leave him in front of the 6-yard ball. You can't do that.
Yeah.
You can't.
You leave up Ronaldo for a tap-in.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. You're going to pay for it. Right.
He's good as 10 out of 10 times. He's good at score. So that was just to me, it was those first half was just a disaster as a whole. And I'll get into that a little bit after if I have a little sheet that I want to show you guys as to how we got destroyed. But, it was those moments like that. It was those, what I call mental lapses, where everyone just shuts off. Just shuts off. And against a team like Juventus, who have that skill, who have that experience, and who were hungry, that was another thing. Juventus came out hungry. They wanted to win. They said, we dropped points against Torino. We're not doing it again today. We looked a little bit lackluster. So we were like, okay, whatever happens when we step on the pitch. You can't have that mentality going into this game, especially what I said before, in a game that has so much hype built up to it. if you're a player, if you're in the dressing room before that match, you should be furious about this match, about everything that has been coming up to this point. Is going through all these different trials to get that rematch, battling court cases, getting those 3 points back, getting that 1 point deduction back. Like this is all just fuel to the fire, and they just didn't take advantage of that. And I think that's what upsets me the most is that they didn't seem like they cared in the first half. The second half is a different story, but that you're already too late. You're already behind the curve in the second half. Mm-hmm. You're down 1-0 against Juventus, who, defensively has been decent. They've been okay this year, but you still can't gamble that. You can't roll the dice because if Juventus wants to play, Juventus is going to play.
Right.
And they played today.
And
that's where we lost. We lost in the first half. We lost tactically. They just outplayed us, and I guess nobody, especially Reno, wasn't expecting it.
I would almost argue for most of the game we were out tactic. For most of it. Maybe like 70
was better. Was definitely better.
In the 54th minute, yes.
Yeah.
Until like the 70th. Right. I don't know.
Like as we are right now, Monday morning quarterbacking, looking back on it, we said, oh, maybe Osimhen should have started. Maybe we should have started Rui. We didn't know that until we saw them on the pitch. And that's where we kind of lost our rails.
Well, let me chime in here because I have a little bit of a rant. Now, as far as Hisai goes, I think that was a coin toss. Again, we don't want a Monday quarterback. We don't want to be revisionist here. But, that was just how, that was how it ended up being, so one can say. But I got to admit, Osimhen not playing today, I was a little bit back and forth. And I agree with you, Carmine, in the sense that after like the first 10, 15 minutes of this game, I said, whoever's going to be more hungry is going to win today. Anybody could have won. Napoli or Juve today. Nobody could have come in the beginning of this game and said, all right, who's definitely going to win? This year, or this season rather, Napoli-Juve, that matchup has been the biggest coin flip in Serie A. It's so hard to predict. And it was hard to predict today. It was a super tight game for most of it. I know Dybala got that little chip, but I'll be honest. Osimhen came off the bench 2 games in a row today. I thought Gattuso was saving him to have a fresh, hungry Osimhen to go up against Napoli, to go up against Juve. And I thought that was going to happen today. And I'm not saying not play Mertens. If anything, the 54th minute, all those changes, that lineup that we had in the 54th minute was the lineup that should have started. Again, not to try to be a revisionist, but it just seemed as if those were the better choices, and I would have liked to seen that. And I also got to see another thing. I'm sorry, but this team is too damn reliant on the wings and passing back to the goalie, and I'm sick of it. And I'm going to say it here. It's got to improve. I'm tired of this. Rafa, I know you're a little in and out with the connections, but I'm going to get to you. I see you now. But I'm sick of it. I'm sick of the back passing, and I'm sick of the heavy on the wings, man. And maybe Osimhen's brother was a little bit right when he said, like, you don't play to the striker. Because it seems that way. How many more times? Every time the ball went to Osimhen, it got dangerous for Juve. Every time. We need to see more of that, man. We need to make sure we are playing to our striker, our $70 million investment. Come on, man. Come on. What's up, Jonathan?
I mean, I agree, Ralph. I agree that the long run, Osimhen is the main focus of the team. It's a $70 million investment. But look at he did make a difference in the match. It just was a little too late, Dybala doesn't get that goal, and we tied you. I mean, I know referee gives Zielinski the penalty kick in the second was it the first half as well? I don't remember if it was the first or second half. But the referee did give Zielinski a penalty. It was in the first half.
Right.
It was at the end of the first.
Right. No VAR, nothing. What's the point? What's the point of having all these things? I mean, even if it goes against Napoli, so what? I want a fair game, period,
I agree.
I think I got a little bit of lag from Rafa. Let me just take him off air real quick. But Carmine, come on. Yes. I mean, like, I know, listen, we're in that chat. We go back and forth all day long. I got a question from the chat. Maybe you can answer this. Why do you guys Why do you guys think Victor didn't start? And what's up, Christopher Estrada?
Like I said, if you don't mind me answering this, I said, experience. That's what it came down to, was experience. And not only that, we saw Mertens, like I said, against Roma, who played extremely well. Especially against Crotone, which that game was a disaster in itself already. But like, he played well against them too. So this is like going back to the who should have started Hizai versus Rui. Exactly, experience.
Yeah, you got.
This is going back to that same argument. Hizai has much more experience than Mario Rui, and I think Gattuso just puts more trust in the players that have that experience. They know how to handle bigger games. There's another thing they have to consider, that Juve today, they were playing dirty. They were playing aggressive football. They didn't let you move. They were breathing down your neck from the moment kickoff started to the moment it ended. Osimhen, he's my age, by the way. I'm actually older than him. I'm like 15 days older than him.
Okay.
I know kids my age, 22 years old.
Yeah.
We get frustrated quick. We have a short fuse. And Juve, if Osimhen would have started that game, I guarantee you he would have had some disciplinary trouble, because between De Ligt and Chiellini, they would have bullied him, and he would one point he'd just snap. And that's another thing that you have to keep in mind. Mertens isn't like that. Mertens is more calm. He's collected. He has that experience. So he plays him instead. And plus recent form. These are all factors that go into who you decide starts that game. Now, don't get me wrong. Osimhen is the player of the future. That is who we want as our number 9. And you saw it today. Like, in the last 2 minutes, he took that control in the box, turned and volleyed, forcing a save or a deflection. Like, that's stuff that you enjoy seeing out of a young player. But you have to give him time. It's his first season in Serie A. You can't really just throw him out to the wolves like that. You have to think about how we're going to play, who we're going to start, and who has the most experience and form at this time. And Mertens was the call.
Yeah, but it didn't seem to go that way. So, like, Mertens also, you got to remember, and we saw it most of the season, that it's not, again, I'm not knocking Mertens. He's one of my favorite players. But he cannot put up the same. He is not the same player when it was when he was under Sarri, when he was able to play game back to back. He is, he can do a couple games here and there, in and out, but his intensity is not as high as it used to be. And for me, it was more the fact that Ozzy played off the bench the last couple games that I thought Gattuso was really putting his best pony in the stable, waiting to unleash him on this Juve team. And when he did, and you're right, I believe that Juve is a hack. I hate Chiellini with all my heart. I don't care if he's in a Juve jersey, or I don't care if he's in an Italia jersey. He's a dirty guy, and I don't like him. Him and Chiesa got the most smackable faces in all of Italy. I can't stand those two guys, all right? And he put his knee into Osimhen's knee, that old piece of crap. You don't do that shit. You don't do that. You don't do that to players, man. Your time is up, bro. Your time is up, Chiellini. Get out of here, dude. Go to the pensione. You're a bum. You're a bum, Chiellini. You represent you're crap. Putting your knee into Osimhen like that, bro. If you would have broken Osimhen's knee, I would have came to Italy and personally handled it myself, man. All right? But I want Osimhen playing a little bit more. I want this team playing to Osimhen more. Everything's going to the wings. Politano also, go ahead.
Sorry, Rob.
Calm me down, because my blood pressure was just...
Sorry, I
got triggered. I hate Chiellini.
Can we put up a comment for a quick second here?
Please, which one?
It's Quinton's comment. Mertens doesn't start. Perfect. Mertens doesn't start, then people are saying Gattuso out. Do you understand how much, in the beginning of the season, when I suggested that Mertens plays off the bench, how much shit that I got for saying such a thing? And I agree with this 100%. Because if Mertens doesn't start, then we start blaming Gattuso for if Osimhen doesn't pan out. There's so many factors that play into it, and you can't just think of it one-sided. That's the thing. Sorry, Raf, go ahead.
No, but I was saying, but I don't necessarily say that Mertens shouldn't have started today. I thought my comment was that in the 56th minute, that lineup, when Gattuso put Mertens to the number 10 spot and put Zielinski back, took Deme, I believe,
Yeah.
who was his first game back after an injury as well.
Yeah.
So it's not like you put your best guys in form on the field. I think having Mertens in the middle to give that creativity, to help distribute the ball a little bit better, because he has the vision to see Insigne or maybe Lasagna or even Politano later on, and then maybe even feed Osimhen a little bit.
Yeah.
And then we saw Zielinski. As soon as the change was made, I mean, Gattuso's changes were brilliant. I'll
Yes.
say that much. But I'm saying that I think that was the team, and I don't like Osimhen 3 games in a row becoming a bench player. I don't. That's not why we bought the guy, and that's not what we should be doing with him.
I agree. And just to go back on this tactically, and exactly frustrating. Just to go back on this tactically. And now I'm just going to speak on this game tactically, especially in the first half. All right, so we play a 4-2-3-1. Now, Mertens against, I guess you can call them mid-table, smaller sides, mid-table sides, whatever you want. You can afford Mertens in a 4-2-3-1, mainly because he has that vision to go over the top sometimes and play the ball in between. But when you're playing when you're playing against Juventus, all right, you have De Ligt and Chiellini. These guys are going to butcher you. They're not going to let you go in over the top. On top of that, you're going to be bounced between them. So you need someone who is bigger, more physical, who can hold up the play a little bit better. Mertens doesn't fit that role. And Mertens in the first half specifically, now you talked about we play on the wings and we play back way too often. We do. And that's mainly because of the fact that we had no striker on today. We didn't have a striker up until the 56th minute, like you said. Up until the 56th minute when we saw Osimhen come on, then we had a striker. But up until that point, you had no threat up top. You had nothing up top, really. And Juve knew this, and they butchered it. They played it to their advantage. Just to give you an example here, right?
Please.
Just have my iPad out right here.
All right,
You
nice.
can see that right there.
What you got going there? That's kind
You
of
can
cool.
see. I'm just going to show you real quick how fast Juve shut down our game. You can see that Morata and Ronaldo were occupying the center backs all game. Whenever the center backs touched the ball, where did they move? They had to move wide or they had to go back to Meret every single time. Even if they attempted to make a pass forward, you're passing into 6 million guys covering the middle here. So where are you going to pass forward? Then they also had a press so far up the pitch, right, that it didn't matter where you were passing that ball. Someone was covered. They were on you. They were on you all game.
I think even Pirlo was calling one-on-ones the most of the
Exactly.
time.
They were
pretty sure I
man
heard
marking, and they were man marking hard. And every time we like to have that little play, as you can see here on the left, that little play between Hizai, Dem, Insigne, and Zielinski, where we want to build up that left side of the field.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't let them have. They didn't let them have it. De Ligt was pressing hard on Zielinski, Danilo on Insigne, Cuadrado on Hizai, Betancourt on Dem, Rabiot covering in underneath, Chiesa covering the pass across to Lozano. Like, they were just shutting them down every chance they had to push up the field. Juventus just cut it off completely. And what pissed me off is
I didn't particularly like that comment that this team doesn't have big game mentality. We beat Milan and Roma 1-0 and 2-0 respectively on the road, 2 shutouts in a row. So I don't appreciate that comment. I don't think that's a good enough excuse for today. I think today we just didn't get it right, and I missed a lot. Obviously, I came back with Carmine explaining.
No, it's all right. We were
we
going a little bit back and
the team, the squad. No, I understand.
Yeah, okay. I just wanted to put you up to speed. I don't know if you want to address this. Christopher Estrada asked it twice, Rafa. Maybe you can help us out here. Please tell me we deserve to tie this game. Like, come on! How that not penalty on Zielinski? Come on, the ref could have at least checked VAR, use the resources when you have it.
It's not penalty.
Do you think this game should have ended in a tie?
I think
VAR or not, or penalty kick or not?
Well, I do. I think if we get that penalty kick, the game ends in a tie. And it's sad to say that 2 penalties would get us a tie against you, but I would have taken it either way. But
Sure.
when Kiss Kiss Napoli said that the foul in the beginning of in the first half on Chiesa, the Lozano trip on Chiesa, the reason why it wasn't given was because Chiesa was off the pitch. He was already out of bounds by that time. Mark Donaldson and Matteo Bonetti retracted that when I sent them that text. They said that according to replays, the suggestion was that Chiesa was on the line. So if VAR checked that would have been a penalty as well. But the absolute, I just don't understand why VAR check that. Why did VAR check the foul on Zielinski by Alexandro in the box, but they checked that handball afterwards? It's very inconsistent. You know what I mean? In the box, the non-handball, because it wasn't a handball, but they checked it. And it's just very inconsistent from the refereeing. I'm not going to blame the officials for our loss today. But I think we did deserve more out of this game, even though Juventus really had our number for most of the match. It's fine. But, I don't think that's right to say that. I mean, I think historically it makes sense to say Napoli when it comes to, taking the next step. The mentality is not there. But I don't think that they don't have a big game mentality. I think they step up on the big games. You know what I mean? It's not normal for Napoli to get 4 or 6 points out of 6 against Juventus in the season. It's just the way it is.
Yeah. I want to read out Peter Scala here. Napoli get effed up by the refs all the time, but not today. The ref could have gave that to Juve as well. I kind of agree. I think again, we didn't lose today because of the referee. So don't.
No.
If anybody hashtags victim mentality to me, I'm gonna lose my shit. I never blame refs for games. Okay, Napoli lost today. Napoli lost, but we need more consistency with these things. We have these tools. We need to use them. It has to go both ways, because when it happens to Napoli, then we get the advantage. When it happens to any other team, then they get, and so on and so forth. It has to be even throughout. Yeah. But I had a feeling. I was like, you know what, today, I bet you what's going to happen. We're going to get a bunch of stupid non-calls, and the minute they can yellow card K2, it's going to happen. And those things happen today. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I had a feeling we were going to see something like that. Immediately, K2. I mean, without hesitation, that guy pulled out his yellow card. I don't know. Maybe it was a card. It seemed like he touched some of the ball before he got the player, but I feel like he was itching with that tricky finger to pull out a yellow card. It seems like everybody's going against Koulibaly because they know he's our wall back there. They know what happens if Koulibaly is not on that back line. And if anybody wants to say anything about conspiracies, it just seems like they're giving K2 a hard time lately. A lot. But we'll see.
Rafa, I just want to go back on what you said for a moment. That we don't have a big, and I agree that we do, when the time comes, we have that mentality to step up and really play hard and play well. But can we really say that for this game, especially in the first half? We can't. To me, they didn't.
No, for this game, I don't think for this game you can.
Yeah,
no, you're right. For this game, you can't say it. No,
because just the way they came out in that first half, you can tell. They weren't hungry, and I'm gonna keep using that word. They weren't hungry. Juventus was hungry for it, and if we look back on the other games, especially in the first, technically the second leg, first leg game, however that works. But when we played that Juve in that first game, for example, then yes, we can say that we had that mentality. We had that big game mentality. We stepped out on the pitch. We played hard, especially you can see the same thing for the Milan game, the Roma game, etc. And maybe we'll see it again in the Inter game. But for today specifically, I can understand why people say that, because even to me, we didn't look like we were in it to win it, especially in the first half.
Especially in the first half. I'll give you that much. I wouldn't say in it to win it, but they didn't have the same intensity. And I'm pretty sure, Pirlo must have told his guys, listen, guys, first 20 minutes, you come out as hard as possible. They're playing at home. You got to bring it to Napoli. Don't sit back. And that's what happened. Napoli, and I'll even go as far. I'd like to ask, because maybe you can help me out, because there was a few people. I know Rob Napoli from Calcio Napoli Club. He was in the Discord today. He was like, guys, the midfield is mismatched today. It seems like it's 5 versus 2. It almost felt like at times there was 7 people on defense for Juve. It felt as times that back line didn't have a supporting cast in front of them from the midfield. How do you guys feel about that midfield today and how it lined up against Juve? Just the midfield.
Um,
Carmine, if you
For
want to take
me,
it with Rafa,
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Carmine. Go ahead.
no, Ref, I want you to go first.
No,
Actually.
go ahead.
Go ahead
Carmine.
first.
Oh, okay. Well,
For me.
so like,
All right,
so like,
Carmine,
no,
go.
so like,
Come
I'm
on.
sorry.
Okay.
Go.
All right. It's official. Rafa, you go first. Go.
Okay.
Here. Go.
Fabian for me was a tale of two halves. You know, first half was just lost. You know, losing balls, out of position, just not looking like the Fabian that he became eventually. In the second half, I think he found a little more of a groove when they took off Mertens, and I think he was able to get a little more forward. Demme for me was decent, I thought, but as far as like cohesively, I don't think they were on the same page today. I don't think anybody was on the same page today. Zielinski had some moments of brilliance here and there, but not anything that was overpowering. Not anything that said, yeah, he's going to get us back into this. I think collectively, Demme and Fabian is the pairing, to go forward. I just think today it was off. I just think that Juve had, like Carmine said, I'm sure in his analysis there, like Napoli's number in every form imaginable, and I don't think there was much that you could do today. Go ahead, Carmine. You take the rest of it away.
So
Bang.
yeah, so basically, it was a mismatch. And even though typically Fabian and Demme do work well together, there was just something about today that seemed a little bit off about the way in which they were interacting with each other in the midfield. But it wasn't so much that it was a mismatch between them. It was a numerical mismatch between just Napoli's midfield and Juve's midfield. Like I said before, Juve was pressing really high up the field, and they're playing a 4-4-2. And the way in which they were pressing, they were throwing at least six or seven guys pressing us in our own half. So when we're only relying on two midfielders playing in a double pivot, whenever they have someone pressing up that high, covering all your passing opportunities, forcing the ball back, forcing the ball wide, misplacing passes, you're always going to have one midfielder that's going to be caught up the field. And that's where you start to have that mismatch. And you saw it in that first half time after time, where if Demme was trying to collect the ball and build something up on the left side, for example, Fabian was trying to move up, but then they lose the ball, and now Fabian's caught out of position. They attack down the middle. They kill you with Ronaldo Morata, rinse and repeat. Like that wasn't so much on the midfielder's performance. I felt like the midfield didn't have the tools necessary to perform as well as they could have. There was nobody, not once did Zielinski drop back a bit to support Fabian in the midfield. Where if there was a counterattack, now you have two guys coming back to help out instead of one. Neither did Lozano. There was a lot of people were static. They didn't make runs in between the lines to try to force a ball over the top, because you know that short play isn't going to work if you're being pressed that hard and high with a numerical disadvantage. Mertens, usually, he likes to play in between the lines, but he was being caught out today, specifically between De Ligt and Chiellini. So, I think they just had Napoli's number all across. It wasn't even just in the midfield. Specifically in the midfield, that's where they had a numerical disadvantage, especially in a 4-2-3-1, where you have four guys running at you and you're relying on two. So it wasn't just that. It was just they had their number. And to me, the switches that needed to be made were maybe a formation change. Maybe you go into a 4-3-3. You drop them back into that holding midfield role. Have Fabian and Zielinski control the half space. Help out with the wide play. Help out with one wing or the other. Right? Something needed to happen, and I think Gattuso realized it too late in the game. or maybe just didn't realize it at all and tried to force that 4-2-3-1 style of play. But if that's something that I would have to change, if that were me coaching, I would have had to make a switch in that formation just to try to stabilize the midfield, stabilize the central play, and then worry about whatever we have to worry about after.
I think Gaetano made a good point, and I don't know if it made our error here, but Demme being forced back into the starting 11 after not featuring from injury.
I was just going to get at that, Rafa. I was just going to get at that, just so I can comment about the midfield as well. I love Demme. Don't get me wrong, but
listen,
he just got thrown into.
I love
mix.
Demme too. You're right. I love Demme too, and like I
just
said,
for that,
I think
was he ready for this game?
Right. Gattuso's approach for me was spot on, but we're overlooking the fact that I think Demme got put in a little bit too early. You know what I mean? A little bit too soon. Maybe it's a substitution. Say it. Maybe Bakayoko should have started. It's tough to say that, but maybe he should have. And then I think he also said, I think it was him too that also said that Fabian for him was one of the best players of the game. I think that, and Fran even said, Fabian, Di Lorenzo, and Insigne, but I think that Fabian in the second half played a lot better than Fabian in the first half. I think it might have been a little bit too late. I think Fabian's performance again in the second half was much, much better. In the first half, he was still sleeping. Yeah. It looks like he's been out in Turin the night before. Maybe he went to Weston McKennie's house with.
They hung out with McKennie, had a little party. Right?
But not a knock on Fabian. Actually, not a knock on the team at all today. I don't. Again, I'm disappointed, but I don't think I see a lot of positives out of the game too. I do. I see it. I did say it. But listen, you got to go with the strongest 11, and if Demme is not ready to start a match after a couple of weeks out on injury, then you ease him back in. And what other option do you have? You want to put Lobotka on?
No.
Another thing. Someone will say it in here. You could put Zielinski in there with Fabian, but I think that gives you the not defensive enough. I think that gives you the what's the word I'm looking for, the danger of not being a defensive enough either. You know what I mean? Where Juve could have rattled along the midfield there.
Right.
So I think maybe in hindsight, maybe starting Bakayoko would have been the right thing. Maybe.
I didn't say all that. I still think I'm gonna stick, guys. I'm gonna hang out maybe like 3 more minutes, guys, and then we're out of here. We'll do a nice 40-minute show. I just want to say thank you to everybody in the chat who came to see us live. We appreciate Carmine. Thank you for joining us today, Rafa. Same as well. I know you're on your vacation. I just want to say, Rafa, the serenity around you now is keeping me calm. Like, I want to come over like now. Let's get the grill going, throw some hot dogs, and just eat some soul food and just kind of drown our sorrows right now. But
come on,
Christopher Estrada, U.S. Look at that.
Come on.
Look at that.
Look at my kids playing.
Look at that. I'm coming over. I'm coming over.
Look at the umbrella.
Is that Papa's house? Is that?
This is Papa and Mama. Yeah. Look at the family. Look, the fiance's back there taking
loving it. That's the life.
Come on, man.
That's the most
This is why this is why I wasn't so upset about the loss today. Also, the fact that I kind of knew we were going to lose. Every time I come here, Napoli freaking loses. So, big mistake.
You mushed it.
I thought maybe
you mushed it, Rafa. You mushed
it.
Christopher, I want to ask. I think you had said about you had 2 questions, Christopher. There was one that I wanted to address. If you could just write it for me again, real quick.
Yeah, I saw
Big question. Do you guys still believe? Here we go. Guys, I'm going to end with this question, okay? Let's end with this question. We'll end on a high note, and then we can answer some more things online. So the big question of the day, because I think this is an important one. So, Christopher, thank you. Do you guys still believe we can get top 4, and how worried would you be to get top 4? Carmine, we're going to start with you, then I'll go to Rafa, and then I'll end on I'm going to end on a high note.
Honestly, not worried at all. Not worried in the slightest. I think we can make top 4. I like just the position that we are in. Even though winning today would have been fantastic and we would have been in top four automatically, we're still 2 points away from two, three, whatever.
Three, I think.
Three. So it's just a
We're
game.
2 points out of fourth place.
2
We're
points.
2 points out of fourth place.
2 points, even better,
I
right?
think
So-
we have I think we have a great chance to finish top four. Look at Napoli's final matches. Okay, here's Napoli's final matches. Let's look at it right here. Okay, you got Sampdoria coming up next away. Then you have Inter and Lazio. That's going to be kind of tough. Well, Inter will be tough, but Lazio, those are both home games. Napoli, Inter, Napoli, Lazio. Then you have Torino, Cagliari, Spezia, Udinese, Fiorentina, and Verona. Now, I know those teams scare you because of the performances that we had against. Well, listen, but this is a different situation now. We have most of our teams back. We're playing one match a week. You know what I mean? So so we have to get past. I feel like we have to get past and be okay. And that's 1, 2, 3, 6 matches to gain ground, right? Juventus, on the other hand, this is the rest of their matches. They play Genoa next. Then they have to play Atalanta away, Parma, Fiorentina, Udinese. They still have to play Milan. They still have to play Sassuolo. They still have to play Inter. And they still have Atalanta in the Coppa Italia final before the last game of the season. So there are a lot more on the line for the teams that are playing against Juventus. You know, some of the teams we play against might be for salvation as well, so it'll be difficult. But I think Napoli will do it. And again, don't forget, the positive out of this one is that Napoli got the goal in the 90th minute, and that goal gives us the tiebreak against Juventus.
Yep.
This 2-1 result gives us the tiebreak.
Well, I'm gonna guys. I'm with my colleagues today. I'm with you. I'm not worried. I'm not worried in the sense that I don't think that they can't make it. I think they could. I think they will. What I think what I love the most is that finally. Hey, what's up, buddy? What's going on?
Hey, Ralph. Hey,
What you love the most
How
is
you doing,
finally
Rocco?
what, Ralph?
How you doing, Rocco?
Good.
But can I?
Good, I'm good.
Well, what I was gonna say was that what I love the most is the fact that this season's gonna come down to the wire. It wasn't decided in January, and for the sake of competition, for the sake of being a Calcio fan, this has probably been one of the better seasons, despite all the craziness. But as far as standings go, this has been one of the best seasons for a long time. And I think it's good that this competition is there. I think it's good that it's a bit nail biting. It's good. You know, it's just good for the sport.
It is.
But keep the faith, Napolitans, man. We are still there. This is like, listen, there's not one Milan fan, not one Juve fan, not one Atalanta fan, not one Roma fan, not one Napoli fan that can say, we got this, or we got this. No, everything is still up in the air. This is crazy. It's unprecedented. For a long time, we haven't seen this. And
Definitely not boring. It's not boring.
Definitely not boring. May the chips
I
fall.
would say this has been one of the more.
Say it, Rocco.
Go ahead.
I would
Rocco.
say this has been one of the more exciting seasons of all of them, because it's not Juve running away with the title as usual. It's it's different. You're not watching Juve run away with the title. No, you got Inter, Atalanta, Roma, Napoli, Juve. They're all fighting for the title instead of Juve 10 points ahead of everybody.
What do you think?
There
Top
you go.
four or no?
Bravissimo.
But
I think, based on our past performances, I think we can probably finish fourth if we need, because if you look at our past games, we only stand up to the topper competition in all of our games.
He's not wrong.
Rocco's
not
smarter
wrong.
than
He's
us.
not wrong.
at all.
He's not wrong.
And the lot of the easier teams that we should have beat, I would say the majority of them we lost to because it's the mindset, the mindset needs to be there, because I feel like Gattuso is like he's pushing his players, but like the players to themselves are like, we got this. Like you don't even need to try. You do need to
100%.
try
100%.
because if we're not even in the Champions League, we gotta step it up and it just like act like you're playing. I think if I were the coach, I'd say pretend you're playing Inter every game.
There you go.
Like
There you go. There you go, guys. You heard it.
The mindset has to be
Who's
right.
smarter than Rocco,
But I
man?
think-
Nobody.
I think if we really
Who's smarter than Rocco, guys? I don't mean to cut you. I do have to run out, guys. So let's get a big Forza Napoli in the chat. Let's go. Bang. I want to put you. I want to
Forza
blast
Napoli.
the let's blast
Forza
the wall
Napoli.
here with some Forza Napoli. We got a few guys still kicking in here. Thank you to everybody, even Tommy Egan. Thank you, Tommy. Bah, bah, bah.
Tommy,
Have fun.
thank you, buddy.
Enjoy
Thank
your
you.
win.
Nah, it's a
Enjoy
good
your
one.
win. Enjoy your
Juventino,
win,
a friend of
bud.
mine, but that's good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tommy. It was a good
Keep
win.
the
but-
faith. Keep the faith.
Good win.
100%. Sempre, Peter Scala,
Should've
thank
bet
you
me on
so
this one.
much. Matteo Forza Napoli Sempre, thank you so much for stopping by. Jonathan, a pleasure as always. Forza Napoli Sempre. And to everybody out there, Don DiNapoli, where were you, buddy? I didn't see you. But welcome, Don. Forza Napoli Sempre. Big thank you to Carmine. Thank you for coming in on the fly.
Thanks for having
Rafa,
me.
thank you for taking the time out. Hey, Antonio!
Whoa.
Madonna, ma che è successo? Madonna mia.
Yeah.
Sal from Jersey. Forza Napoli, sempre, guys. Guys, I'm gonna cut out. I gotta run. I got mom planting in the back. I gotta go help her. It's crazy.
Appreciate having you guys.
There we go. Pierre, there we
Right,
go.
that's right.
All right, cool.
We'll get him.
Rock up Forza Napoli to you as well. All right, guys. We'll see you
Forza Napoli,
again.
guys.
I want
Thanks
to
for
make sure. Andrew Duranta, Forza Napoli. Francesco, grazie ragazzi. All right. I want to get everybody in here. I don't like missing anybody, guys. We'll see you again.
guys.
And we'll see you next week for the post game. We're going to have a good proper rant on Monday as well. But until then, I'll see you later. Ciao, guys. Ciao.
Ciao.
Okay.